What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here at TB Finance. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a company known as Palantir Technologies. Their ticker symbol is PLTR. I'm going to be giving my thoughts of them at this current price of $12.28. I'm going to be giving my future price targets, how high I think they could go or how low I think they could go. And I'm going to be talking about some of the recent news revolving Palantir Technologies. But before I do that, I want to mention, as always, that I have the link to my Discord, Wolfpack Capital, at the top of the description. Feel free to join and check that out. We have lots of free educational content, as well as some paid premium groups where I do give out signals on what I'm personally buying and selling in terms of stocks, options, and crypto. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But with that said, let's get right into this video. So I'm going to start the video off here with this article from MarketBeat titled "It's Time to Catch Palantir Stock." This was published yesterday, Wednesday, January 26th. I'm going to go ahead and read this first paragraph off right here because it does kind of align with my view on Palantir, especially at this price of $12.28. You can see enterprise and government data analytics service provider Palantir Technologies stock has fallen nearly 20% alone in just 2022, and the growth stock has fallen more than 60% from its peak price of $45 per share at the beginning of 2021. And while the shares are much cheaper, they aren't exactly at bargain levels yet, which I do agree with. It's not really a huge bargain, but personally, I still think it's a steal at $12. The company has zero debt, which is huge, and has a fortress of a balance sheet. And they are a pioneer in big data analytics and the utilization of AI to create solutions and bolster effectivity and outcomes for enterprises. They have been around for a while, I should say, guys. The CEO is this guy right here, Alexander Karp. He was the former CEO of PayPal. I think he has a great mind, a great background, and I think he's going to do a great job continuing to lead Palantir into future success going forward. He did mention, though, in some previous earnings reports that Palantir's road to success is going to be a little bit rocky in terms of the price of the shares. He said that if you're looking for quick returns, quick gains, then this isn't the stock for you, and that this stock will reward the long-term investors, people in it for the long run. And personally, guys, I think this is one of my favorite, one of my top, and one of the stocks I predict will do the best, perform the best in the next few months, in the next few years. If we take a look at some more of the recent news, you can see this came out a few weeks ago, but I still am going to mention it. Palantir announced that the company would be expanding into South Korea via a partnership with Hyundai Heavy Industries Group. Palantir will build a big data platform joint venture, and this partnership does diversify Palantir's revenue stream and was initially viewed positively by the market. If you guys have been following Palantir, you know they have a ton of government connections, a ton of government contracts, and it seems like they're getting these new contracts basically every week at this point. If we take a look at the next thing I want to go over here in this video, this is going to be from Fintel. This is the institutional ownership, so the buys and sells of Palantir as of late. The green is a buy, the white just means it remains the same, and then this red is going to mean a sell. So if we scroll through some of these recent transactions that were published over here, you can see it is mainly green. There is some red. It's not like super dominant buying, but it's definitely not super dominant selling. I would say this is more buying than selling, and this is a great sign to see going forward. And I guarantee you, a lot of these long-term believers and hedge funds in Palantir are loading up at this price of $12.28. This is a price level we haven't seen basically since a few weeks or a few months, I should say, after this IPO. If we zoom out a little bit further, you can see it's not going to show it here, but they did IPO at $10 per share back in September of 2020. They dipped to the all-time low of $8.90 before rocketing up to this all-time high of $45. And ever since then, they have been in a steady and consistent downtrend. But this really isn't anything different than what we've seen in the market. The entire market as a whole, especially these growth stocks like Palantir, have been bleeding out and have been downtrending these past few months. I don't think this downtrend, this dip, is anything really specifically to do with Palantir. I think it's just a market-wide correction, which is why I'm so excited and which is why I would definitely be a buyer, and I am a buyer at this price point of $12.28. Now, in terms of my price targets and where I think they're going forward, if we zoom in a little bit further, I'm just going to click that right there. They're currently trading, like I said, $12.28. My first price target, I'm going to go ahead and draw another trend line on here, is going to be a bounce back up to this previous level of about, go a little bit higher, about $20 even right there. If I zoom out again a little bit further here in just a second, I'm going to go ahead and click this. You can see that in the past, they have kind of bounced off this $20 level and used it as support, and both support and resistance, I should say. And it's also a critical psychological level too. So I think that's kind of where my first price target is at for Palantir Technologies. And then after that, I do think price target 2 is going to be this previous resistance level of $27. If you followed them in the past or you owned them, you know they really struggled to break above $27. If they do get above that $27 mark, I think the next target to look out for is going to be about $33.50. Then obviously if they break that, they could push and break that all-time high of $45 per share. But I do think this will be a bit of a slower recovery. I do think they'll see a nice little bounce back up, kind of a rapid little bounce up to about $15 probably next week, in my opinion, if the market does kind of rebound and correct. But to see that $33.50 price target, I think you got to give them a few months, maybe even a year, to fully recover to that level. But nonetheless, guys, I think they're a steal at $12.28. I'd be loading up if you are bullish and a believer in Palantir. But with that said, guys, that's about it for this video. If you're new here, please do subscribe to my channel. And like I mentioned at the start of this video, check out the Discord link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.